"You'll see," he said. Hannah had seen enough. She snatched her lunch from the dining room table, a brown bag with her name on it in her mother's messy cursive that now bounced against her thigh, and headed toward the foyer and out the front door. It was spring 1970. Her mother had told her last night while tucking her in that it was a whole new era. She talked about NASA's Explorer-1, an unmanned satellite re-entering Earth's atmosphere just a week earlier, after 12 years in orbit. And soon, within days, men are going to soar into space. Imagine that, Hannah, her mom said. Anything is possible. When Hannah grew up, she could be a doctor or even an astronaut. You could go to the moon one day. Hannah shook her head. Her mom laughed. I'm not much of a traveler either. Now, walking down the driveway, Hannah thought about that unmanned satellite, spinning around in space for 12 years, launching before she was even born. She waved at the next-door neighbor, Mr. Perkins, who was coming down his porch steps, carrying a briefcase. His black hair was wet. "You like my new car?" he asked her. "It's a gremlin," he said proudly. "Tell your dad to come by after work to take a look." He opened the door, tossed his briefcase into the back seat, and sat down behind the wheel. After an awkward, wordless back and forth about who should go first, Mr. Perkins accepted her offer, pulling out and waving goodbye to Hannah behind the closed window. She wished they lived on a street with sidewalks, and that the neighbors' lawns weren't so neat and manicured. She walked on those lawns, tentatively, using stepping stones where she could find them. She waited a few minutes until the O'Brien's sprinklers sputtered to an end, and then moved through their yard. Halfway down the second block, an old woman in a nightgown and fluffy slippers stood on her porch, shaking her head. Hands on her doughy hips, she screamed at Hannah to get the hell off her lawn. "Can you hear me? I'm talking to you, little girl." Across the street, a German shepherd, chained behind a wire fence, barked and growled and bared his teeth. "Are you deaf? Something wrong with you?" the woman said. "Can't you hear me? Are you deaf?" she repeated. Hannah was many things, but deaf was not one of them. She was shy. She was bookish, in 1st grade, but reading at a 7th grade level. She was nervous, prone to seriousness and hypochondriacal thoughts already. She was worried about the new era her mom had mentioned. She was quick to tears. She was fearful, especially afraid of strangers and thunder, fog and the school nurse. She was short, the second shortest in her class, only taller than Eddie Epstein, who had confided in her that he was taking special vitamins that were supposed to help him grow. Eddie was a nice boy, a boy who smiled when he talked to her and asked about her weekend. But still, she was very afraid that those vitamins might work. When he'd returned from the nurse's office and sat down in the adjacent desk, Hannah stared at him, his little shoes and jeans, his plaid shirt and delicate shoulders, the tiny denim jacket hanging over the back of his chair, and she imagined Eddie growing and growing, sprouting right out of his desk, taller and taller, passing huge and handsome Tommy Miller, passing pretty Janet Murray, passing Mr. Henderson and the top of the chalkboard, too, until his head brushed the ceiling, until he left her behind. She was timid. She didn't shout out or complain when she should have. Like right now, that woman's voice again. "Get off my goddamn lawn, little girl. You're going to mess up everything." The air was sweet from the roses to the left of her, and sour from the garbage on her right. She held back tears and imagined her destination, the school itself.